Imagine waking up one day to find your smartphone doesn't work, your car won't start, and the lights won't turn on. Why? Because Europe suddenly lost access to critical technologies and energy supplies. Sounds far-fetched. It's exactly the kind of scenario that's keeping EU leaders up at night. Welcome to the Economy Unpacked daily YouTube channel. From Wall Street to your street, we share the world of money in a clear way. Today, we're diving into a hot topic that's reshaping Europe's economic landscape: strategic autonomy. This concept has gained momentum as Europe faces repeated crises exposing its vulnerabilities. From energy dependence to reliance on foreign tech, the EU is realizing it needs more control over its economic destiny. Recent global challenges have made this need crystal clear. COVID-19 disrupted supply chains. The Ukraine war triggered an energy crisis. And rising U.S.-China tensions are forcing Europe to rethink its place in the world. But what exactly is strategic autonomy, and why does it matter to you? At its core, strategic autonomy is about the EU's ability to make decisions and act independently in critical areas. While it can apply to defense or foreign policy, we're focusing on the economic side: trade, technology, energy, and finance. It's not about isolation, but about having options and resilience in an unpredictable world. This isn't entirely new for Europe. The introduction of the euro was a step towards economic independence, reducing reliance on the US dollar within the bloc. But recent crises have accelerated the push for autonomy. The 2008 financial crisis showed Europe's vulnerability to global shocks. COVID-19 exposed weaknesses in supply chains, especially for medical equipment. And the Ukraine war highlighted the dangers of depending on Russian energy. So, what are the key pillars of this economic strategic autonomy? First up is trade and supply chains. The EU is working to diversify its suppliers to avoid over-reliance on single countries. For example, it's looking to reduce dependence on China for rare earth minerals, crucial for many high-tech products. Technology is another critical area. Europe is investing heavily in semiconductors, cloud services, and AI to compete with the US and Asia. This isn't just about economic competitiveness. It's about ensuring Europe has control over the digital infrastructure that increasingly powers our lives. Energy independence has become a top priority since the Ukraine crisis exposed Europe's vulnerability to Russian gas supplies. The EU is now accelerating its transition to renewable energy and diversifying its energy partners. This shift could reshape global energy markets and accelerate the fight against climate change. Financial sovereignty is the fourth pillar. By strengthening the euro's international role, the EU aims to reduce its dependency on the US dollar in global trade and finance. This ambition could have far-reaching effects on the global financial system. But what does all this mean for Europe's global partners? For the United States, it's a mixed bag. While the EU and US are close allies, Europe's push for greater independence could sometimes cause friction. However, it could also lead to a more balanced and resilient transatlantic partnership. China faces a more complex scenario. The EU wants to continue trading with China, but without being overly dependent on it for critical goods and technologies. This balanced approach contrasts with the US's more confrontational stance and could reshape global trade dynamics. For countries like the UK, Canada, and Australia, Europe's diversification strategy could present new opportunities. These nations could become stronger trade partners as the EU seeks to reduce dependencies on other major powers. However, the path to strategic autonomy isn't without its critics and challenges. Some argue that it risks turning into protectionism, potentially limiting free trade and global economic growth. There are also internal disagreements within the EU. Not all member states agree on how much autonomy is desirable or achievable, with smaller countries fearing they might lose global competitiveness. Perhaps the biggest question is whether true autonomy is even possible in our interconnected world. Can any region truly be independent when supply chains span the globe and economies are deeply intertwined? Looking to the future, if successful, Europe's push for strategic autonomy could significantly reshape global trade and alliances. The EU might emerge as a third pillar between the US and China, offering an alternative model of economic governance. This could lead to a more balanced global economy with multiple centers of power and influence. In conclusion, the EU's quest for strategic autonomy is about building resilience, independence, and adaptability in an increasingly complex and uncertain world. It's a response to the vulnerabilities exposed by recent crises and a bid to secure Europe's place in the changing global order. What do you think about Europe's push for strategic autonomy? Could it lead to a more stable global economy, or might it cause new tensions? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to stay informed about the forces shaping our economic world, don't forget to subscribe to Economy Unpacked Daily. We'll keep bringing you clear, insightful explanations of the global issues that affect your wallet and your future. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.